In the video today, I will show you how to create mini-specs. Mini-specs allow small areas within software to be adjusted without adjusting the overall master specification. Mini-specs can also be saved and thus can be referred back to in the future for future jobs that you may wish to use the mini-spec where the items used are relevant. In the example I will use today, I will use it for brickwork. But of course you could use it for tiling, for guttering, any small areas within the software, within the job that you're doing, that you may wish to adjust the specification without adjusting the master spec. To begin, I'll click on the Create/Edit Mini-Spec option here at the top. When the Mini-Spec editing screen appears, we can then begin the adjustment process. I will go to the first drop-down and select the external wall brickwork. I will then select the type of facing brick that I would like to use for the wall here, for the external wall. I'm going to go for a £1 facing brick. This of course is for an example, and it can be used for any of the brickwork options that are available here. On this screen that appears, I can thus adjust any items that I need to alter to adjust for the job you have at hand. So for example, if I would like to adjust the brick layers that are being used here, I can select the relevant option here that I need to adjust. So perhaps laying the bricks above the DPC, I can click here for the labourers. I'll click on Change Resource, and of course I can then perhaps select 2 bricklayers and a mate instead of the 4 bricklayers and 2 mates. I hit Select Resource, they are now selected, and of course I can then adjust the speed at which they work. So I'll click on the calculator here and put in the rate that these labourers can work. So perhaps because it's less men, it's going to be a little bit slower, so perhaps I'll put in 1.66 meters per hour. I click on OK, and that is now adjusted and altered into the software for us. I click on OK, and now the 2 bricklayers and a mate are being used for the job here at hand for laying bricks above DPC. I may wish to do that for below DPC as well, so I click on the lay bricks below DPC, below the splash. So I click on Change Resource, I click on the labourers that I would like to use in the place, I hit Select Resource, I click on the calculator to adjust the speed that they're working, and again they're working a little bit slower because there's less of them. I click on OK, OK again, and now I've adjusted the bricklayers that have been working here on the job at hand. Once I'm happy, I click on OK, and now the mini-spec for the brickwork here has now been created. Of course, you may do a number of similar jobs with varying brickwork types. The software, of course, allows you to create a copy of similar works. So again, I can simply go to Create and Edit Mini-Specs, like so. And in a couple of seconds, the screen will appear once again for the mini-spec. So again, I go to the brickwork, I go to external brickwork there, I select the £1 facing brick as we had before, but instead this time, I can create a copy, like so. I click on Copy, I give it a name, so instead of being £1 option, perhaps it could be a £1.20 option, and I'll say type or version, perhaps version 2, and that will then be saved into the software as a fresh specification, that £1.20, and then of course I can adjust the brickwork that's being used there. So I hit Change Resource, I click on the relevant option, I hit Select Resource, I confirm how many go into a given area. So if they're an oversized or undersized brick, you can adjust the relevant number that can fit into obviously a square meter there. I click on OK, and now I have another mini-spec that I can refer back to later on for any jobs that I am doing. And therefore Rather than having to adjust the master spec every time I'm doing my job, I can simply refer back to the mini-spec for the brickwork and select this as my option. So the relevant brickwork is chosen, and of course the relevant labourers are selected, working at the speed that I have selected. And of course, as I've said previously, that's not only for brickwork, it can be for any type of job that you are working on, that you regularly do, that you would like to have a mini-spec set in software so you can refer back to it in the future, set up in a way that you work in terms of materials, any labour, any plant that is used for that area of the job. And that is how you use the EstimatorXpress and the mini-spec option that is found there within. I hope you find this video useful. Thanks for watching.